Way too many real estate investors go from having a decent looking portfolio to being flat broke simply because of a few stupid mistakes. But after I'm done with you today, you're not going to be falling for those traps. Let's get straight into the first one. Guys, reason number one, paying too much. Now, of course, we've all seen that apart from the great financial crisis, real estate basically goes up in value. Yet I'm the real estate world and I still hear about people who are losing their properties to foreclosure. The basic reason is they paid too much. When you pay too much, you can never change that. You lock yourself into a higher mortgage that can crush your cash flow. If the bank refuses to refinance and your property declines or doesn't grow up in value enough, you're stuck. This is especially common with developers who are building from scratch and relying on something that didn't exist before. Now, guys, here is a portfolio of 3 houses that I own that I'm renting out as an Airbnb. These are high-end homes. They're on lakes. They're in nice areas. I paid a total of $7.6 million, put about $1 million into them with renovations, furniture, other things like that, buying boats for rental, etc. Now, this is my cash flows going forward. And guys, here's my IRR, 16%. Okay, not bad. Now, let's change this to, hey, these are luxury properties. The story's great. They're beautiful. They're on the water. They're 7,000 square feet. 2 of them are brand new. All these things sound great. You get a little carried away. You might sit there and say, well, Paul, if you paid 7.6, I'm not going to pay more than 8, but you'd be surprised. It took me looking at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of properties before I found 3 that made sense. The rest of them would have sold for around $9.5 million. Now, look at this return. It falls to 8.3%. Now, you might sit there and say, well, what's the big deal there? Well, guys, look at the cash flow. It fell in half from $100 and some thousand dollars a year to $56,000 a year. Let's go back and I'll show you guys that right here, the $7.6 million. Cash flow went from $176,000 down to $55,000. You might sit there and say, well, still it's profitable. Now, as I said earlier, developers. I bought existing properties. I knew what they were worth based on what the market was there. I knew the rents I could get based on other houses in the area. But when developers start building things, the margins aren't that great. People think developers have these huge margins. They build a property for $2 million, they're in it for $1 million. No, that's not the case. They're trying to eke out a few $100,000 in value and profit. And that's the point. If you sit there and you get 10% margin, what does it take? All it takes is a 3 or 4% decline in rents you're going to get before that 10% margin is gone. That's the problem with it. So remember, our 4th tenet of our principle-driven investing is the most important one. A great story at the wrong price can become a bad investment. You need to understand that. That's essential in successful investing. Which leads us to problem number 2, taking on too much debt. Over-leveraging puts you in a vulnerable position. If construction or rentals go out of whack for a while, you have too many vacancies, you have too much maintenance, if they go out of hand, you don't have the flexibility to handle it because your debt is owed every single month. Markets can fluctuate. And if you're over-leveraged when a downturn hits, you could be forced to sell at a loss or worse yet, be wiped out completely. Now, the same example right here. $176,000 in debt. $176,000 in free cash flow at 75% loan to value. Let's say you get a little crazy and go, you know what? Let me go up a little bit higher to 85%. I take on a few debts. Look at my returns. They jump up to 18% return. Yeah, but let's say my vacancy all of a sudden jumps up just 5%, a mere 5%. My 18% return goes to 12.3. Paul, it's still profit. Sure. Let's go another 5%. Instead of 55%, let's go to 60% vacancy. Look at my cash flow. My original deal was $176,000 in cash flow. I went from 50% to 60% vacancy on my vacation rentals. Only 10% difference. My cash flow went negative and my IRR fell to 7%, where I'm getting my big value down the road. But look at my values. They've plummeted. I paid 7.6. The property isn't worth 7.6 until year 10 now. All from 50% to 60%, a 10% difference in occupancy. That's it. Problem number 3, not accounting for real risks. Deferred maintenance issues. Things like roofs, HVAC, plumbing can add up fast if they're not accounted for upfront. So many times I hear people, they're so excited to get in a real estate deal. I want to go do this. I want to go do this. And they ignore the obvious expenses that are there. And guess what, guys? A lot of landlords will sell their properties when they see a lot of expenses coming up. They want to kick it down the road to somebody else. And they want to find that sucker investor who isn't going to account for those major problems. That's some big time money. Because if you're factoring in $500 or $700 per unit in maintenance and repair, but you all of a sudden have an HVAC unit that's to go out, that could be 5 or 6 of your unit's maintenance repair costs gone right there. And if you have a single family home, that's a big nut. You could be eating up a couple years of your free cash flow just from that. Don't get me started on roofs. But these are major issues that's why it's important to have an inspector who's on your side. Reason number 4, collections. God, I love this one. I love it because so many landlords are lazy about collections. If your tenant doesn't pay, there is one person responsible for that. It is you. That's it. Don't waste to chase tenants on paying rent and filing evictions. Investors often focus on physical occupancy instead of financial occupancy. Just because a property is full doesn't mean the tenants are paying. Not only that, with collections, if you're not charging enough rent, that makes your financial occupancy lower. Charge more rent. Would you rather have 30% more rent and 10% more vacancy? Or would you rather have 100% occupancy, but 30% lower rents? It's pretty obvious, guys. Focus on the rents collected, the financial occupancy. If somebody's not paying, get them out immediately. Most states are very pro-tenant. Most states. If you live in California, then they're going to sit there and probably give the property to your tenant because they didn't pay the rent because it's unfair, because they were probably oppressed at some point in the past. Now, guys, this is our channel. We talk about real estate. I own and operate over 1,000 apartments. I've owned and operated over 1,500 at one point. I love real estate. It is a great way to build wealth, but it's a slow process. It's not for the people who want to get rich quick. You just saw why most real estate investors fail. They pay too much, they take on too much debt, they don't account for real estate risks, the real risk before they buy, and they don't factor in their collections. They need to focus not just on collecting the money, but evicting very quickly and charging as much as possible. Once you overpay, every other mistake gets worse. You lose your margin, you lose your flexibility, and when things go wrong, you don't have the breathing room to fix it. So how do you make sure you don't fall into that trap? The answer isn't luck. The investors who win know exactly how to analyze deals, structure financing, and avoid those awful mistakes, the catastrophic mistakes before they happen. We have a full real estate investing course, and that's exactly what this course is going to teach you. Because if you don't have a process for buying right, you're rolling the dice with your financial future. But when you do, you stack the odds in your favor, and it only takes one great deal per year to make you worth over $10 million. So start learning now by clicking the video linked on the screen. Thank you for your time.